So I'm going to show you guys how to make a relatively inexpensive bird perch, because we all know standing perches can run ridiculously expensive. What I have here is just a bunch of half-inch PVC piping, which you can pick up at any hardware store close to you, Lowe's, Home Depot. We have a couple of these connection types, as well as the corner pieces. I'll show you with a link in the video the layout for what I'm building. It's just something I came up with. We also have just a cheap rubber mallet, got it at the dollar store, as well as a Sawzall handsaw for cutting the PVC piping, and a tape measure. That's all you should really need. So what I've done is I've measured out 8 inches. This is 2 feet right here, so if you do the math correctly, you should get 3 8-inch pieces. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut on the lines here and get these pieces made. As you can see, it's not very hard to cut the pieces, but it does make a mess, which is why I have this box here to catch the shavings that come off. You could use an electric Sawzall or anything that you have at home, but I found that this was convenient for in an apartment where you have neighbors. It's not quite as loud. And you don't have to worry about sanding off the edges if you get a rough lip like this, because all of these edges are going to be within the connections, so your bird won't get cut or hurt from them. Be careful not to cut yourself. Keep your fingers and your hands away from where you're cutting. Also remember that when you're trying to get these little shavings off here, try not to cut your fingers, because it will be sharp. So like this edge here can be really sharp. Try not to hurt yourself. Now there are a lot of videos out there for making perches, which I'll probably link a few in this video. There are many different designs. It's really what you want to do, what you want to build for your bird. Personally, what I'm building here is a cube. I figured it'd be cool to have a cube to move around the house. He can walk around the whole cube, and I can pretty much bring it and put it anywhere I want. So we'll see how that comes out. Now that we have all of our 8-inch pieces together, all nice and cut here, we're going to now cut these into 4-inch pieces. So we're going to cut each one of these in half. The reason for that is so that we can put these middle connection pieces on, so that we can have a vertical bar come up from them. So I'm going to measure those out using a tape measure. And then using a Sharpie, just mark off where halfway is. Now that we have them all marked, I'm going to go ahead and cut them. So I'll get my Sawzall back in the box. And this part you might need a partner for. You might need someone to hold the other side of the pipe for you. In this case, we have a handy-dandy fiance who's also recording the film. And she's just going to hold that other side while I hold this side, and we're going to keep it from shaking all over the place, out of control. And hopefully neither of us will go to the ER tonight. That's the goal. So that was nice and easy. That's one down. Get all this junk out of here. And I don't recommend you cut these around your bird, because all these PVC shavings that are coming off are incredibly small, and they're really statically charged, so they'll cling to anything nearby. So I recommend just doing it somewhere like this hardwood floor that we're over a box, somewhere you can clean up really easily, and no pets or little kids can get in and eat it. I find that building these perches is a nice part of the nesting process. We've been really excited in these last couple days while we wait for Dovahkiin to arrive. And so I've been out buying toys and buying PVC plumbing and designing stands for him, and we've been having a lot of fun. This should be a fun thing. Don't stress out. Like I said, you're not gonna have perfectly straight lines. It may not come out symmetrical, but in the end, as long as your bird's happy and he has something to sit on, then, well, you've done your job. And the best part is you're doing it cheap. So, I mean, even if you completely wasted $15 somehow, where none of this piping was any good to you anymore, then at least you only spent $15. Whereas some of those perches online are, upwards of $30 for a bunch of plexiglass and some plastic. Okay, so that didn't take too long, maybe 10 more minutes of cutting. Now we have 16 of the 4-inch pieces. Each side's going to be 8 inches long of the cube, each face. The reason we had to cut it was because we have to put these joints like so. Also, if you're going to try and change the setup that I have online, it's important to note that even if you cut these to 8 inches, and you want your face to be 8 inches, you have to remember that each joint you add is going to add on a couple inches. So this is actually going to wind up longer than 8 inches. Maybe 10 to a whole foot after the corners are put on as well. So we'll measure it in the end and we'll see what it comes out to be. So I'm just going to push that into there like so. And then to make it even tighter, I'm just going to tap it down with this rubber mallet. And that's in there tightly. We're going to continue to do this for the rest of the pieces. Until we have our cube. So just for giggles, let's see how long it is now. Actually, it's easier to do this way. So this is reading about 11 and a quarter is how long it came out. But we only measured 8 inches, so as you can see that added 3 1/4 inches to it. So we're just going to do this until we have our cube. Hopefully this doesn't bother the neighbors. We are in an apartment. And it is 9:24 right now, p.m. So as you can see, I'm struggling to turn this piece. It's quite tight. So you want to try and get them on as straight as you can. You'll have wiggle room after, but just do your best. Again, carefully don't cut yourself on these edges if you try and push on them, which I like to grab here and then just hit with the hammer. And so far, the only thing we've cut pieces for is the top and bottom part of the cube. We haven't done the vertical pieces yet. I'm not exactly sure how tall I want to make it yet, so I'm going to figure that out here in a minute. So by now you should have each one of your sides to your cube here. They don't sit exactly flat. It took a lot of work to try and get them flat. And the reason for that is not every piece is going to get cut perfectly, and that's the result. It's not perfect, but once you get them together, you'll probably be able to wiggle them around and hammer them into place. So these are the two sides, top and bottom. Now if we wanted to make it a perfect cube, we would need to know the length of each side, which in this case is about 11 1/4. And since each one of these adds on a little bit, for our vertical columns, they add on about 1 inch each. So we would need about 9 1/4 inch vertical pieces to be perfect cube. However, I don't really have that much material, and
I don't know, I don't want it to be quite that big. So we're not going to have a perfect cube, but we're going to have something perfectly functional. And like I said, this is fun, it doesn't have to be perfect. So what we did was we cut 4 6-inch pieces. So we're going to have maybe 8-inch verticals with the added connection little bits that they add on there. So we're just going to go ahead and add those in. Now this is going to be fun trying to line up the pieces. Looks like one of them is a little shorter than the others. It's okay, it'll be fine. So let's just get one, maybe 2 in place. So we have ourselves somewhat of a cube. Now if you're wondering why I didn't do the corners like you would like a normal person for the cubes, that's because at least my hardware store, probably yours too, doesn't have a connection type that has a 3-way. There are ones that have 2 ways with a let off on the third 90, and that's usually smaller and has a screw type connection. So this is really all you need, because there's plenty of support. Like when he stands on that corner, it's not going to go anywhere, other than the fact that it's a little wobbly. So it's not perfect. Oh, this side is much better. So there you go. And we'll add, I have some tape, some Scotch tape. You can get this at the hardware store as well. We chose green because Dovahkiin is green. And so we'll wrap where he's going to sit with this so that he has a little bit more grip, because this can be kind of slippery. So we'll add some tape and give him some more grip. And that's how you spend $15 and 1 hour of ingenuity, and you can make yourself a nice little stand that you can carry around for your bird. And so like I said, we'll just add some tape on here so he has some grip. Just get this going here. There we go. Oh, tore it a little bit. Almost done. We're just adding up the finishing touches now. Now you don't need to add grip tape to the bottom unless you're gonna rotate it and use both sides. But my fiance likes symmetry, so we're gonna make sure it looks perfect, of course. So yeah, Perch. Which can also be used this way, I suppose. You can hop from each one. Now we didn't cover the connection types with grip tape. 1, because that would have been difficult, but 2, also because we can challenge the parrot in gripping different surface types and building strength in how he learns to balance and move around in his environment. Little parkour for our parrot. He also, from that, he will also be challenged mentally. So he'll have to think of ways to move around on it and to not slip and fall off. And it's important to challenge your bird constantly because they're very intelligent and they get bored very easily. So make their home fun and interesting, and they'll be fun and interesting for you.